It's a client coming in and say, I want to lose 30 pounds in 3 months. Like, you're just like, no, we have the wrong expectations. We can't do that. It's not realistic. It's not realistic to say, I'm going to give you $2,000 and I expect $10,000 month one. It's the same thing, just different ways of doing it.
You're an inspiration to our entire organization.
Welcome to the Gym Marketing Made Simple podcast. We're going to be talking the done-for-you marketing and sales strategies proven to work with boutique fitness gyms to increase quality lead flow and grow your revenue. Don't try to be a professional marketer and waste tons of money. Let the experts at Lasso do it for you. And now, here are your hosts, Blake Ruff and Sherman Merritt.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Gym Marketing Made Simple. We got a good one today. I'm excited about this one. So I got Tommy on here. We're really just going to go into the misconceptions. And Tommy, I'll let you label this podcast. But, you know, I know we talked about this offline. But really, like, there's so much advice going on in the outside world right now. And we want to condense it down to make this make sense. And what we're seeing, where Facebook is going, what you should be doing, what you should not be doing based on, and a lot of it's going to be geared around like budget, I think is a big thing. What you can do with that budget, what you should not be doing with that budget, how should you set up your campaigns? And then lastly, I think the biggest one that we were just talking about is expectations with that budget. And so I think that's where some of what we're going to talk about, we'll probably get it totally, but and I want to say a disclaimer to this is that we are here to give you guys real world advice on your business of what works, what does not work, of a agency that spends $105,000 per month on ads. So this isn't like I'm running one business's ads and that's a B2B or e-commerce or anything like that. This is like gym. We only work with gyms and service-based business. And there is a huge distinction when you hear these hypotheticals of like, you should make X per X, like ROAS month one. That is usually equivalent to Apple and all these other, like, you make a purchase from that, right? And you need to make sure your cost per acquisition is this, and you got to be selling it. You got to acquire for $7 if you're selling a $14, because then you have to buffer in your overhead and stuff. We are playing at a different ball game, so we want to make sure that we're going to lay this out, hopefully in a simple, and I'll try not to get too nerdy on things later on. But honestly, we're going to give you, like, I'm probably going to go pretty deep on like how to set things up based on things that I've been watching and conversations with like Meta Pro. And the reason we talk to a Meta Pro is because we are spending close to probably 1.5 million a year in ads at this point. So yeah, Tommy, I'll let you take it off from here.
So I'm going to say what Blake just said a slightly different way, just because I still do own a gym. So like, I still have skin in the game, guys, when it comes to understanding how my marketing dollars are being spent, what's the best way to optimize it. I care a lot because I have a lot of personal guarantees riding on getting this right. So like, I think one of the benefits of you know, Lasso is we're still trying to better understand the marketplace. We're trying to evolve. We're trying to test because we have skin in the game in terms of like, we need to be producing results and staying ahead. If we didn't, my incentive wouldn't be as high. I mean, like, yes, out of the goodness of my heart, I want to take care of my clients, but like, no, guys, like, this affects me too. So I want to make sure we're constantly testing, getting it right, educating ourselves from people who do much larger ad budgets than what Blake and Lasso run, right? So like, we're constantly trying to ask questions. Can we do this better for our clients? And then for me, because I am part of like groups where I have relationships with other gym owners, I care about these people. I want their businesses to succeed. I want to make, based on like my reputation, I want to make sure I'm giving great advice. So I want to stay ahead of the game, you know, keep my act sharp here. The first thing I want to say, you guys, is if you're listening to this and you're running paid ads, let's just take a step back real quick, right? If you're doing that, chances are you're probably already in like the top decile of gym owners in the entire world. Okay. not all gyms get into paid advertising, or they shouldn't be doing paid advertising, just depending on where they're at in their business. So like if you're already listening to this and you're doing paid ads, just understand the problems we're talking about are already like only applying to a small group of gyms that are trying to scale their business. Okay. So just take a step back and recognize that. Within that group, there's different levels to this game in terms of what you're capable of doing, depending on how big you want to grow the machine. The bigger that you want to grow it, the more sophisticated that you can get. So just keep that in mind. Like some of the things that work well for gyms that are just getting into paid advertising are not going to be the same strategies that some gyms who are multi-location are able to spend $3,000 to $6,000 a month are capable of doing. So just understand different strategies for different businesses and different stages. So I'm going to go through with Blake, and I'm just going to throw him some like, hey, here are like typical, I don't want to call it like misconceptions, but these are just general questions that I get based in circles that I'm in, coaching calls I'm in, and really kind of dissect based on where you're at, what information applies to you in your stage of business, what's the pros and cons, what's the cost benefit, and then once you get to a different stage, what are some more toys or strategies that we can play with if you're willing to spend more money. Okay, so Blake, let me frame it this way. Vast majority of our clients are spending somewhere between $750 to $1,000 a month, correct?
Yeah.
So
yeah, I mean, 750 to 1,000. Yep.
750 to 1,000. In the Facebook advertising world, that is considered a tiny or small budget. And the only reason why it's considered that is because if you think about, depending on how competitive the marketplace is, that's what's going to determine cost per impression. How many people are going to be able to see this? Now, depending on how many people are able to see it and the frequency of that data gets sent back to Meta, which allows it to optimize a lot better and push more stuff, in front of the right people at the right time. So if we're working with a $750 to $1,000 ads or a budget per month, we're not going to be getting as much data and feedback from someone who's spending $10,000 a month, which means like we have to be very strategic in terms of what kind of strategies we're putting in place to best utilize those marketing dollars. Okay. Just because we're working with less data, right? So we just have to be very specific and very, I don't want to call it like unsophisticated, but very simple when it comes to like launching ad strategies early on. So Blake, one of the common misconceptions I have is we run very unsophisticated marketing strategies. We just do lead campaigns. We use opt-in forms. We're not doing retargeting. We're not doing awareness plus retargeting. We're not doing custom audiences all the time. We're not doing like multiple ad sets that are speaking to different customers depending on where they're at in the funnel. Do you want to speak to that real quick in terms of why we keep it simple for our gym spending $750 to $1,000 a month?
The simple answer is you're not spending enough. That might poke some people. They're like, 750 to 1,000, that's a lot for my gym. I get it. The problem lies is Facebook does, whenever you launch ads, it's called learning. The way for it to learn is to get more data. If it's not getting data, it can't learn which ad. So if we're doing, let's say 20 different ad sets, right? And we're spending $750. Basically, that's $25 per day. If we have 20 ad sets, that's $1 per day on each ad set. Therefore, how is Facebook going to learn on $1 per ad set to figure out which one to do? So the more that you do, the more you constrain Facebook to figure out how to Facebook its goal. They want you to win, right? They don't have this platform to say like, hey, spend money on Facebook ads because we want you to fail. We want you to win, but without the data, it cannot win. And so rather than recreating the wheel, and just like a video that I watched, and if you guys ever want to go deep on like somebody I trust that like I would say that gives really great advice, a guy on Ben Heath on YouTube gives great advice and reiterated all of this in the video that he just posted today about small budgets, is that you have to go smaller and more defined than broader, because you can't be running all these campaigns because you don't You don't have the funds to. You're not spending $10,000 per day. You're spending $25 per day or $30 per day. And so you also have to stop helicoptering your ads to fix everything because it hasn't had time to actually learn.
Let me pause you there real quick, Blake. So maybe, because people are going to be like, well, $1 a day, like what does that equate to? Maybe talk about the auction-based system that Facebook uses to say, hey, if this is what you're bidding at in terms of like the amount of money you're willing to spend, and I got other competitors that are willing to spend more money, this is how we're going to prioritize, putting ads in front of people, right? Like, do you want to speak to that at just like very basic level?
Well, I mean, just think about it this way, right? Like if somebody was spending 10,000 per day, or not, let's not even, it has a 10,000 or, doing 3,000 per day. So they're doing $100 versus 20. That other business is getting it 5 times more in five times more in front of people and more data than you are. And so it's like driving by 5 Starbucks to 1 Dunkin' Donuts. You're probably going to go to the Starbucks, right? I think that's maybe the easiest way to put it. And if the offer is better, so you can't compete in that realm of like awareness ads and all this other, and we'll probably get into that stuff, but yeah. But yeah, that's just like, if you think of an analogy, like let's use OTF and you guys, right? Like if they're spending, they usually spend $7,000 on opening. So what's $7,000 divided by 30? Like,
let's call it like $215 a day. Yeah.
$200 per day. And so they're going to see it it's going to get pushed out to Facebook 10 times more than your $25 per day. That means they're getting 10 times more of the data. That means they're going 10 times faster on seeing what works, right? Mm-hmm. And able to optimize faster, especially if they have good offers and things like that. And I would say, like, I'll put a plug in there. That's why working with us is better for you than doing it on your own, because not only are you probably going to waste $1,000 because you don't know what works, because it's hard to recreate the wheel. You need to do what we have small budgets. You have to do what already works and proven rather than testing all that stuff outside of it. OTF knows what works and they're going faster. That's why they open 400 members. That's why you just opened up with $30,000 of revenue, because we know what works and we can go faster. When you do it on your own, I think a lot of people come to us. I've tried Facebook ads and it doesn't work. They've either worked with a local person. This is why it's really bad idea to have your gym client run your ads. That's never run in the gym business. And we can go faster because we test at a larger scale, right? So we can implement it for smaller budgets. So we hopefully can get there faster for you.
Yeah, perfect. So with that said, you guys, like when we're working with smaller budgets, we have to keep it simple in order to optimize our ability to be successful for you, right? Because of being able to gather data and learn quickly so that we know what adjustments we have to make. If we make it too complicated, we're never going to know what works without spending more money. And I never tell clients, like, don't spend more money until you dial in your sales systems. You have a consistent lead to close number where I'm like, okay, we figured out the basics. Now we can spend more money. And once you get past a certain threshold, now we can get more sophisticated. So just want to put that on there. The other thing too, Blake, sometimes I think people forget is we choose to do lead campaigns versus awareness, traffic, sales. I know there's a bunch of other ones. And I think sometimes people forget, like, not all of, like, how Facebook's going to optimize depending on the outcome you're looking for is not the same, right? Like the people that are going to see awareness ads are going to be highly different from people who see lead ads.
Yep.
Maybe you don't need to tell people like how the sausage is made, but maybe just say, like, this is what, like, you go back to the analogy, Facebook's trying to make you win. Through that lens, what does winning look like depending on what the outcome is that you choose for a campaign?
Yeah, so let me say, maybe this, and I'll say it different than the video I watched today. Awareness ads make you want to feel something, so you buy it later. Coca-Cola, it's massive brands that make you want to feel that I want to buy a Coca-Cola next time that I'm in the grocery store. I'm not trying to purchase it online, right?
Okay, so pause right there. So then, like, if that's what the outcome is, it's like, hey guys, like we're just making people aware you exist. They are not going to, they're highly likely not going to take action quickly. They are maybe not even going to necessarily click on anything. They're probably just going to watch what you put out, right?
Mm-hmm. Or plant the seed that you exist, right? I want you thinking about Coca-Cola versus Pepsi next time you go to the grocery store.
So I live in, so I operate in Houston, Texas, fourth largest city. So if I am doing an awareness ad in Houston, what type of audience is that getting in front of? Like, describe that person.
It doesn't matter. Anybody that just watches videos. It doesn't. So let me say it this. Again, Facebook wants you to win. If you put stuff up for videos, it's going to be the person that sits around and likes watching videos. Doesn't mean that they're fitness oriented, right? If you put stuff up for clicks, you're going to get people that opt in for clicks. That's why I've always said and been like all these like people that actually understand marketing, not the guy that's just selling some stuff. If you do cost per click campaign, it's the worst thing ever because there's just people that click on stuff. And that doesn't optimize for leads or whatever you're trying to do. So awareness ads, yeah. So if you go back,
go ahead, finish your thought, yeah.
Yeah, like if let's use Yeti, right? What does Yeti want to make you feel? Adventurous, outdoors, right? They're running campaigns to make you feel that. So when you think of, they know they're not going to get a purchase today, but they want you to create this feeling of, hey, when it's time that I want a backpack, I want a cooler, I want a new water bottle, I'm thinking of Yeti. And they can spend the money. Here's the thing, and those businesses spending massive amounts of money probably are getting just as much ROAS, and we'll get into that later, but as you are, but they're doing it on a bigger scale. They're spending $1 million a year by them, but there's still the 2x that equates to $2 million, right? And whereas your $1,000 equates to $2,000 later on, it's the same variable. It's just they're doing it bigger.
That's right. And I would say, and again, we'll get into this once we get into like what the strategies when you spend more money and depending on what market you're in, because not all markets are the same. Sometimes, like if you're in a smaller town, you don't necessarily need to run awareness campaigns. You don't need to because of just lack of competition. But like if you're, to your point, if you are a national brand and you're trying to cover the entire United States, like there's a lot of competition. You got to make yourself more aware. So people are like, oh, I didn't even know Yeti existed. And then now I do feel adventurous and maybe I will buy a mug when I go on that camping trip in the next 3 to 6 months, whatever. Right. So I just wanted to bring that up, you guys, because like, depending on what you tell Facebook to optimize for, that's what it's going to put in front of people. It's scary how much data they have on consumer behavior. These are the people that tend to watch stuff but not click on stuff. These are the type of people that click on everything. They'll like everything. They'll comment on everything. They'll go to the landing page. They have all of that data, you guys. So like when Blake says they're trying to make you win, they're honestly trying to put you in front of the right people who display the right types of behavior for the outcome that you're choosing for. Now, if we go back to how we started the conversation on a $750 to $1,000 ad spend, we have to optimize to get you highly qualified people who are looking to buy, right? That's the best thing that we can do. Now, Blake, let's unpack this for a second. Service-based business versus e-commerce product-based business when it comes to lead attribution and conversions, right? Unpack that for people real quick, because I think there's still a misconception on like thinking about Facebook marketing through the lens of product and buying stuff through the lens of service-based, and how sales cycle, consumer behavior, what tends to happen in that sales funnel. Unpack that for people real quick.
Yeah, so I'll go on the Facebook side first, right? If you're setting it up for conversions, Facebook wants to get people to buy stuff off Facebook, right? So for example, let's take, I don't know, I just bought a new espresso like kit thing, right? Off my stuff. If I go buy a new like tamper and all this stuff for like let's use an espresso machine because I like want to upgrade shortly. If I'm going super high end, like $6,000 espresso maker, that is the cost that's cost of the product, right? Now the espresso company needs to acquire me probably with their margins at a decent margin, if they acquire me for $1,800 of that cost per purchase, but I buy a $6,000 machine, that's a win, right? That's a day one purchase. I am not a reoccurring buyer at that time. Now, granted, I could be a return customer, which a lot of people try to do, and then sell me other products. Now, that depends, and that's a wholly different thing. But now on a service-based business, right? And so that's what they're just looking at. ROAS based on purchase, cost of website purchased based on the cost of the product, right? Let's use a simple analogy. If it cost them $7 and I bought a $14 headphone case that's sitting right here, that would be they got $7 to play with. Now, based on their overhead and stuff, does that make sense? That's it. A gym.
Hold on, pause right there real quick. So like a lot of times when I talk to gym owners and they're like, oh, I'm looking at 30-day ROAS, I always say I only care about 30-day ROAS if you are selling a one-time high-ticket package inside your gym or you're a product-based business, because they will spend money the next month and the month thereafter and the month thereafter. So I don't care about my 30-day ROAS. If I make my money back in 45 days, 60 days, 90 days, it doesn't matter because the average client is staying in my gym for 3 years. Okay. So I want you guys to because I think 30-day ROAS got made
short game or long game, right?
Yeah. Well, and I think 30-day ROAS got super popular with Alex Hormozi when he's selling the 6-week challenge. Hey, you make all your money back in the same month and you can just reinvest the profits. Now you have a limitless marketing budget, self-liquidating offer. That was what that mindset was. But you have to understand that unless you're selling something to the tune of $800+ up front, package, high ticket service, whatever, you're never going to have a positive 30-day ROAS. It's not going to happen. It's very hard for it to happen. Yeah. So I just wanted to say that real quick. Usually 30-day ROAS comes up in this part of the conversation. Guys, if you're a product-based business, you live or die on 30-day ROAS. Subscription-based business, I kind of don't care because they're going to spend money the next month. I know they are. I'm going to run their credit card.
Yeah,
again.
And I'd even argue. Well, yeah. I was going to argue that, but you think of it, right? Like a coffee subscription, they can lose money on me month one if they know I'm going to be there for 6 months, right? They play the long game, and that's exactly where we're going. Because now, if I was a product-based business that I know but he's going to be a return customer, right?
Right.
Or we just bought the Skylight calendar and it's a $40 subscription per month. Now my cost can be a little higher, but it's still the fundamentals, we're just still getting back to a subscription model, right?
Yep.
And so, so go ahead. So, because my argument
so I just wanted to pause you there. So then so I think you were going to transition to, now let's talk about a subscription-based business and how we think about ROI in relation to LTV, right? That's what we care about because that's the true value of acquiring a customer. And once we understand that number, we can better back into how much money am I willing to spend to acquire that person, right? So then I just wanted to tee you up back there. Now I'll let you run with it again.
Yeah. So let's say this, right? Let's take some hypotheticals here. The gyms we work with, average revenue, if they're group fitness, probably around $200. Small group, $400, right? What would you say would be a decent leg?
Yeah. So, I mean, if you have, you should be aiming for a leg of at least 18 months. 18 months to me means the service is good enough to where the client saw results in your gym, you built the habits for longevity. And after that, they just want to, it's a want, not need relationship at that point.
Okay. So let me backtrack. If I asked you guys listening, what is a client worth to you? And if you said my client is worth $200 and you mentioned the first month, you should never run Facebook ads. You shouldn't.
You're never going to win.
You're never going to win. Your mindset is already wrong. Now, if you said the client is actually worth, because you're thinking it against Tommy's point, of a product-based service, only 1 month. Now, if you say that, hey, no, that's actually not true. What's your leg? It's 18 months, 200 times 18 is $3,600. What would you pay to get $3,600? Now, if you say $100, I'm going to be it's just unreasonable. Would you pay $400? Would you pay even $500 to get $3,600? I would venture to say 90% would say yes, right? So if you paid $500 to get that customer, now here's where I totally understand, and I think, Tommy, this is where you come in to unpack later. That is not going into your bank account month one. That is over
Correct.
time. That's why you have to be a healthy business that is willing to invest in the long term and not look at the short term. And I think this is where you are much better suited to talk about. But so $3,600. Now, if you're spending $500 and your ad spend is $1,000, that simple math, that's $2,000. Now, there's a lot of mentor companies that would say, wait, hold on. You only got 2 new clients and you spent $2,000 and you only made $600. That math isn't mathing. No, that's not where again, you're going back to product-based service of the cost per, basically you're thinking of it at the cost of purchase rather than the LTV versus the CAC.
That's right.
And that's where they get it fundamentally wrong. And Tommy, and so let's take, you're a small group trainer because we work with a lot of small groups now times, we said 18 months. $7,200. And it's $7,200. Shoot, if I got 1 new client a month on that, it is well worth it.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a 300% ROAS.
Yeah.
And that's the, and everybody on this now, I think, oh man, how do I say this? This is where business IQ, I think, really plays a big toll in. But you're like, no, you're wrong. Like, that's not going to my bank account. Like, I got other bills and stuff. No, but like, that's what larger company, like mortgages, right? Mortgages don't make money up front. They're 30-year mortgages that they're making interest on you over the term. That's where they're making their money. Banks, right? Like, they don't make their money giving you $500 in your bank, everybody that enrolls. They make it off the length of engagement. And it's so fundamentally wrong. In the gym industry, we think of everything different. Now, I understand that we're dealing with different, like, problem for some, like different, money in the bank account or revenue. But I think this is where, Tommy, I would ask you, because I think Josh asked you a question the other day. What makes you different than everybody that you met with? Not to say that, like, I'm asking this humbly. How do you think about my return on investment? And if I just get one, it paid for itself. Even knowing that money is not coming into your bank account, even though for 3 months, you might actually be negative.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I think of that way in terms of marketing spend and investment in people. Like, I know that, like, a gym-based business, a service business, because my leg is 36 months, any investment I make, I'm looking at it through that timeline, because that's all that matters to me. It's like, hey, this customer, this engagement's going to last not 1 month, not one purchase, 3 years. So if I'm investing in systems, if I'm investing in marketing, or I'm investing in people, I'm looking at it in terms of what am I going to get over those 3 years versus what am I spending over those 3 years? That's the timeline I have to look at it, because that's the timeline that matters.
Yeah, and I think of it like this, right? Like, you buy a mentor service. A lot of them you got to pay up front for a year. Did you make that money back month one?
No, because the work you're about to put in is going to pay dividends over the course of that entire year. Yeah.
So why does the argument do so much different in ads from the mentor companies?
I think it's a lack of education, but I also think it's still this frame of, like, the Hormozy days, the e-commerce days, and I think things are just maturing in the industry where we have to have a different conversation around a subscription-based model, like, and service-based model. That's it.
Yeah. So I think about it like this, right? And maybe this will make sense for some people. I'm like a coffee guy, and I got to order some more here shortly. If my monthly subscription costs me $50, right, to get a 5-pound bag of coffee, it's probably like $70, but whatever. If it still cost them $100 to acquire me, they actually lost money. Now, if they did that to 10 people, that would be that would be a $300 loss month one. But if they scaled that, right, to 20 people, it just keeps going up. but all they're banking on is the revenue and keeping that client. All they're thinking about is how long does somebody keep a coffee subscription? Let's say it's $5. That's only $350, but they lost $30, but they're still losing net 30 to gain 350, but they know what's happening over the course of the time. There's nothing different. It's just on a larger scale for like, you know, because you're when the scale is larger, when it comes to price point, you have more room to play with.
Correct.
And so I think that's a huge thing as well. And I think that's where fundamentally a lot of people that have either canceled or stopped running ads. And like I just pulled it up with the Jim. He got before ads versus after, only 13 new clients over the course of the year. That's not a lot. But if we do the math, and let's use that analogy again, a 13 new clients times 200, and they stay for 18 months, that's actually 46 grand of revenue that came in that he wouldn't have gotten the year before. And if he spent $2,000 per month on ads, $24,000 out, $46,000 in.
That's right.
That's, at the end of the day, that's the math.
Well, and you bring up a great point, Blake. And so I'll pause this here. So far we've talked about guys like 30-day ROAS versus like long-term LTV in the subscription-based model. Alex Hormozy actually has some really good benchmarks for a primarily human-based business that I'll give you guys. So like bare minimum for him in a service-based business like us, LTV to CAC has to be 20x, bare minimum. Our gyms, I want to see somewhere between 30 to 40x. So like if Blake asked me, how much am I willing to spend to acquire a client? If my LTV is $11,000, at a bare minimum, I'm willing to spend $2,200 to acquire that client. I'm sorry. No, hold on. That's way too much. Hold on. Sorry. 550. My CAC is 550. That's the bare minimum. So if Blake produces me anything less than 550, that's all gravy to me because I know that I can scale that business reliably. So just to give you guys that benchmark, and we're going to start including this in the gym builder dashboard, is like I want you guys to see what the LTV is, so then we can start making better decisions as to like, is this a leg problem, an arm problem, or a CAC problem, and I need to spend more money? Like we'll start to dissect that. Like I wanted to pause here because like I want to talk about like at the end of the day, you guys, like I think like a lot of gym owners, the problem they're trying to solve is I'm trying to grow my gym and I'm trying to figure out, is this a bottom, middle, or top of funnel problem? And depending on where the problem lies, what's the best strategy for me to implement, knowing that I'm constrained by both time and money?
Got it.
That's the conversation, right?
This is where I get into.
Well, no, so like, because like I think where there's disconnect, where I've flat out said where I have issues with other mentorship companies is because you guys are talking about different parts of the funnel where we're talking past each other because you're giving strategies around very basic things that gyms need to be able to implement, but they hit a ceiling because we're not talking about solutions that are top of funnel, right? So if I'm talking to a gym owner and they're like, hey, I want to run paid ads because I want to grow my gym, and I'm highly certain that everything else that I'm doing in my marketing channels, my referrals, my reactivations, my social organic, website optimization, SEO, maybe even running Google AdWords, and my business still isn't growing, then it's kind of like, okay, cool. Here are our options. We have to let more people know that you exist. Couple of different ways we can do that. We can run Facebook ads. It's your digital 24/7 billboard. We could do tabling events or just in-person events. That's a high requirement of labor, time, effort, whatever. We could run like old school billboards and mailers, Blake. Like we could just say, hey, go lease a huge billboard off of I-10 and hope people drive by, see you, and get all excited and be like, hey, like you see all the lawyers do that, right? Like the strong arm of the law. Yeah. Like they still do billboards.
Did you get hit by a truck?
Did you get hit by a truck? Yeah. So you just got to make more people aware you exist, assuming you're optimizing everything below the top of the funnel. So if we say, okay, I'm not hitting my growth goals, okay, cool. We need to go to the top of the funnel. Here's all the different strategies. Blake and I obviously think that meta ads are the best use of your time and money constraints, right? So if you don't have a whole lot of time, telling you to go do tabling events, probably not the best use of your time. If I say, hey, it's going to cost you $2,000 to $3,000 a month to go lease a big ass billboard off the side of the freeway so people can see you, I think we can get you more eyeballs on your business through Meta. I don't think there's a better solution out there in terms of more people being aware that your business exists. Okay, that's the frame. Okay. Now, if we're trying to build awareness that your business exists, we got to go through marketing psychology, Blake, right? Like you talked about this. Hey, Yeti, I'm going to have you think about it being on an adventure, and you need that like insulated cup because it's going to like blah, 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 right? Okay, cool. I've seen it once. I'm going to get more familiar with your brand. That takes time. There's different strategies that you're retargeting towards me, saying, hey, are you ready to go on that camping trip? Are you ready to take action? Here's a testimonial of a guy who loves like Yeti. Like there's a whole marketing psychology that goes from taking somebody who doesn't know, like, and trust you to trusting you and taking action, right? And in a perfect world, if we were not constrained by money, Blake, how would you build that campaign for a gym owner? Just say like, hey, money, we have all the money in the world. In your mind, how would you, all the money in the world, how would you build that campaign for a gym? What would that look like beginning to end to optimize results?
So do we have, I guess, well, you didn't prepare me for this question, but I can go with it on the fly. But do we have a big audience that we've built, or are we trying
to let's just say, let's just use like my gyms here in Houston. Like, hey, we got 4.8 million people that may be a potential customer.
I asked that the wrong way. Like we were talking with our guy Stu the other day. Are we saying that we've built a lot of engagement before we're running ads?
Yeah, yes. Let's say we've been around for 10 years. We got a lot of traffic coming to our gym, engagement, stuff interacting with our stuff. Let's say all that exists.
Okay. So that's a different strategy than like where I would like to take it two different ways. Like you're a new business or you haven't run paid ads and you have like 1,000 followers, right? So let's just, let's take it. And then I'm going to pull up your ads that we built recently so we can do a screen share later. So let's take it back to, let's just use Stu, like we chatted with him yesterday, right? So he's got 10,000 followers on his Instagram. He's trying to build his gym real estate. Let's create some audiences. Let's first go after the people you've already have in your ecosystem that just are not clients. You don't have 10,000 clients, right? And
yeah. Pause there real quick, Blake. Who are those people? Email lists, website visitors, people who have landed on your Instagram. Like all of those people are like, these are people who already know you exist.
Yeah, I'm going to give you guys the secret sauce. I'm just going to go deep. So you're going to create custom audiences. You're going to click on Facebook. You're going to do people that have visited your page in the last 365 days. You're going to do people that follow your page. You're going to have both of those already set up. Then you're going to do the same thing for Instagram. Then you're going to do your website. And if you don't have your pixel, you should have had it set up because you can do 180 days of people that have visited your website pixel. Then you can go email list and then try to make sure you have first name and last name, phone number, and email. The reason email list doesn't work as well as most people think is because the email they signed up with, like I have like my gym email that I don't use anymore. And I opt in with a lot, like it's my gym email, but if I gave you my Lasso email, they aren't going to match, but maybe by the phone number.
When you say match, the email you signed up for your Facebook profile doesn't match the email you used to sign up for the newsletter, email, whatever. If there's a mismatch there, Facebook may not be able to connect those dots.
Correct.
I just wanted to, continue.
So it's not gonna auto match those people to find it. So then if I had a big audience, I would just go after those people. I've already created a bottom of funnel. Well, these are people that are qualified. Now, how many does that mean, right? At least 2,000, right? 2,000 to 5,000, I would say go after those first. Then
okay, pause. So hold on. So when people bring up retargeting campaigns, it doesn't make sense unless we have the tune to 2,000 impressions or interactions over the course of the last how many days?
Yeah, and you're going to hit, my next point, you're going to hit those people pretty fast, right?
Yeah.
You're going to get out of those people because once you hit a frequency, and really, guys, frequency doesn't matter. I don't want to get in like arbitrary numbers because frequency matters when it's not working. When signups have stale, because ROAS, your ROAS is going to go down the longer you run ads because you're getting impressions. It's like if you drive by that Starbucks 10 times and then the new flashy coffee shop comes in, you're going to try the new coffee shop, right?
That's right.
And
You're
so,
desensitized to it over time. That's right.
yeah, but it doesn't mean your problem went away. That's why, that's why I'm saying now when your frequency gets high and you're just like we're doing right now, that like, hey, our signups have kind of staled out. We need to create a more top of funnel, right? At Lasso. And so now now you have two choices. You can go broad in gym space. Now, this is where I'd say, okay, now we need top of funnel. If I have all the money in the world, I am going after video views. I am going to start putting Tommy on there and be like, this is why you need small group training. This is who it's for. And then I'm going to retarget and I'm going to spend a decent amount of money and only go after people that are watching that 75% of the time, because now I'm pouring more water at the top to visit the website and everything like that. And then I can still, that retargeting audience is getting bigger.
Yeah. So to your point, Blake, like the more money I spend and we're building awareness up top pushes everything down, which allows us to spend more money on coming back to them and saying, hey, you saw Tommy's face talking about his gym. Now we're going to give you a slightly different variation of an ad. Maybe it's a testimonial. Maybe it's like, here's a day in the life of District H, whatever. And they're going to be like, oh, wow, I really like this brand. I trust this brand. Maybe I'm willing to take the next step and take action. But that's only because I've spent enough money at the very top to be able to retarget those people.
Yeah, just think about you have a bucket, right? The bucket is the leads. The water is the leads. The more water you pull in, the more you're going to have in the bottom. The less water you have, the less you're going to have at the bottom. That's the retargeting. So either you're dripping it slowly, like an IV, or you're pouring more in at the top. And the only way to pour more in, just like we're dealing with at Lasso. So these are real life scenarios, is we have to get more people at the top. How do we do that at a B2B? We do cross podcasts with we go across networks. We run video views so people can watch more of our video, retargeting those. Now it is it's not different, but it's a smaller, we do have a small audience. They have to be business owners. But when you're a gym, then you're doing it for your area, but you're being specific on who you serve and what you do, because now you're getting people. The reason that ads, when you go broad, and then now we can start transitioning to like a gym that doesn't have an audience. When you start running ads, people don't know, like, or trust you. And my biggest thing is when you see an ad, right? And the way I think of this is like, say I see Chirp in is it Hyperice or Hypervolt?
Hyperice.
Hyperice. If I see Chirp and Hypervolt all the time, right, for like massagers and things like that, they have given me brand awareness. That is building trust the more I see it, right? But I don't know, like, or trust them, and I haven't purchased of something that's higher end of like $300 to $500. But when I go to Amazon and I see the $30 one, which one do I still purchase? The $300 one, because it's been in front of me over and over again, right? They're building that trust. So what I'm saying is that, like, you have to go wider, and it filters itself out, and then people see it. And so you can't run awareness ads because you're not doing the retargeting. You need to focus on broader, and then be specific on what your service is, who you serve, and most of all, guys, what problem you solve. If you cannot, like the video we just watched and we talked about, you need to niche down. Well, how do you niche down in the fitness industry? You talk about what you solve. We are a small group personal training for 40 years and older that are professionals, right? That is very specific. That's the niche, because I think we can all agree fitness is for everyone. Everybody wants to be healthier. Now, a lot of people say niche down. Well, they're talking about, people that can afford like, for instance, your Garmin, right? Like more outdoors and things like that. That's a different market. And you need a niche down for like, hey, are you an outdoorsy person that's looking for like a new watch that does all these things? That's a different market, and that's how you niche down. So you have to run lead ads, right? You don't run conversion ads because, again, Facebook optimizes for what you want, right? Conversion ads aren't going to lead to leads a lot of times. Yes, and Tommy, you can ask the question because I feel like I'm going a little different route, but like, you want to get more leads in the funnel. And I would say a lot of people are going to be like, yeah, but lead ads suck. Okay. Here's 3 ways to get better leads. And I'm just going to give it to you guys because at the end of the day, the truth is if you want to run your own ads, that's great. Like we don't probably aren't the best fit. But if you go to run your ads and they don't work, we're here for you. So number 1, turn on SMS verification, 25% improvement in lead quality. It's just like when you opt into high level, you have to put in a code. It's going to go ahead.
Now pause there real quick. And this is just like this was a recent learning on our end, because again, we're getting feedback from gym owners, boots on the ground, my own experience. And what we're noticing is because we're beholden to whatever Meta decides to do, every once in a while we'll notice that like a lot of leads are either because of like old information, they've had a bot problem in the past, like stuff like that's going on. An easy way for us to cut through that noise is turning on SMS verification, just to make it less of a pain for customers to be like, hey, they never said they clicked on this, or like they're like 70 years old. You know what I mean? Like in terms of what they're clicking on. So in order for us to cut through the noise of whatever issues Meta has, we can turn on something like SMS verification. I just wanted to get that plug real quick so people can understand. Sorry, continue.
Yeah, SMS verification. The next I would do is like we do custom audiences. So like SMS verification, 25% improvement in lead quality, right? If that fixes the problem, great. The next thing you would do is how can I get, now granted you have to buy a separate software, which we spend $800 a month just on, is audiences that like income based. And we would compare it based on the people that live in your area. Where this does not work, or actually it does always work, but like if you're rural, you just have less of those people, and you have to be okay with a higher cost per acquisition because there's less people, and that's just always going to be what it's going to be. And so it always works. It's just you have to be okay with what the trade-offs are, and we'll probably get to that here in a second. Lastly, and this is a new thing with Facebook, and I actually really, really like this, and we're going to start testing this, or 2 things. Would be going to sending people to website and lead forms at the same time, doing an ad for both. The reason for that, Facebook, let's be honest, guys, like I feel like Facebook's listening to me all the time. We were just in Houston. I said something to Josh. It came up on my ad like a day later. It just is what it is. So it's going to know what you like and know how you operate. So if you're one that go to websites, it's going to put websites in front of you, meaning I see the ad, it's going to be say District H, click here to book a call or whatever it is, right? The call to action.
Right.
If you're a person that likes to easy fill out lead forms, it's going to send you to a lead form. Facebook knows that. I think that's a great way, the next step.
So pause. Right. You and I always talk about the halo effect. When it comes to building awareness on a limited budget, the best, most qualified people are always going to do more research about your product. So they're going to see the ad, they're going to go to your Instagram, they're going to go to your website. You are actually going to start testing that to say, hey, Facebook's going to start putting this in front of people who are more likely to go to your website than opt into a lead form, correct?
Yeah.
So we're going to test it, you guys, to say, like, hey, like we talk about this halo effect, and I think there's always this disconnect with clients because because there's no direct lead attribution, there's this level of trust. You have to be saying, like, I trust Tommy and Blake that they're not telling me a bunch of bull crap, right? Well, now I don't feel good about that. I actually want to show you that it's true. So Blake's going to actually start testing that to say, hey, we're going to track people who are getting pushed to your website. And if they opt in through the website, we will know, like, hey, it came in through the Facebook ad, right? So like the conversion happened at that level, pushed to your website. Oh, I'm getting a lot better sales, better lead quality. Yeah. But the only reason that that's true is because they saw the ad, AKA the halo effect, right? So we're able to do that now. Sorry,
it's basically the past halo effect, right? Just in true form. Just to be honest, I'd rather just push everybody to people's website because then
But why can't we?
Well,
but why can't we?
Yeah, that's not what it's not for the best results, right? Like, because you still get, I mean, going back to like just the video we watched, if you get 1 out of 10, still a win. $25 cost per lead, still profitable.
Still a win.
Right?
Yeah. And if your website is not optimized or doesn't have great calls to action, you're going to be
Yeah.
lighting money on
Oh,
fire
great.
because there's no
Okay.
conversion there. It's like,
Yeah, so that's the other thing, right? The reason that people a lot of times it's not a good idea to send it to the website is your website's not great. It doesn't speak to the client. So there's a massive amount of risk there sending them to an unoptimized website that doesn't speak to the problem and in a story brand with clear calls to actions. Because if we send to the website and they don't opt in, it's not the lead, it's your website. And
correct.
that's why lead forms are usually a really good idea because it takes away the risk of the bad website or the pixels not firing or like all this not set up.
But the cost of that is, yeah, like that's a colder person that you're going to have to build know, like, and trust. Speed to lead,
Correct.
handling objections, get them in, make it easy. Like all of that, yeah, automations, all of that has to be there in order to turn that into business, right? It's
Correct.
no guarantee that someone gets to your website and says, aha, I've hit. We're speaking in probabilities. If you do have a good website that converts, it's probably going to go well. But if you don't, yeah, like if it's confusing, there's not a clear call to action, it's not going to go well. You're better off just sticking with lead forms.
Yeah.
Like that's
And then the last thing, I'll make sure. Okay, it's the wrong one. I'm going to share my tab. So if you're watching this on YouTube, giving away the sauce today, Tommy. The new thing with Facebook, you want to create different ads for different awareness. You want less campaigns. Okay. So, and we're even going to revamp this, and Tommy was like, hey, I want to go after business owners, right? This is business owners that are clicking on this, right? It's very clear. The call to action is for a business owner. He's getting $28 cost per lead, which is phenomenal. Hey, I could get you in front of business owners for small group training with I think, what'd you say your LTV is?
my LTV is 11 grand.
11 grand. If I got him 10 leads and you signed up one, and so far it's about 150 on this one of this new test. So we got solution aware, problem aware, unaware, service aware, and most aware. Most aware is like, hey, they're bottom of funnel, they're ready to purchase, they know they need something. Service aware is more like, hey, I know this service exists, like talking more about that, how it can improve their life, all talking about the problems. Unaware, they're unaware of their problem. You're a business owner, you're busy all day, you're drinking tons of coffee like I'm doing right now, but you don't make time for yourself. We got small group training. Problem aware, they understand their fitness is sliding, that we have the solution. Solution aware, they understand they need this they need this thing. They understand they need to take the step. This is what we have to offer. Facebook is now, according to Andromeda and everything that's out there, Facebook is now saying we can get it in front of different people in different stages. And you can see right here, people are solution aware. And then here's the thing. $28 cost per lead is amazing for a $400, $600 service, right? So there's nothing that needs to be touched here because, yeah, unaware, I mean, $37, but like, who cares? Like, as long as we're getting people into different stages and then pushing them down and making them more aware.
Well, so Blake, I'm going to pause right there because I'm going to use myself as an analogy. I told you guys earlier the most amount of money I can afford to spend to acquire a client reliably is $550. If Blake is generating $28 cost per lead, as long as I convert it 5%, 1 out of 20, I am winning. That's how I view it. If I convert higher than that, that gives Blake more leeway. If I can convert at 10 to 15%, Blake can now go, hey, I can get you $35 cost per lead. You know, I can get you, it gives me more wiggle room for Blake to say, hey, if this isn't working or if there's some drift, you're still hitting your business goals. And there's not so much pressure on me to always produce really cheap leads for you or really cheap cost per lead for you.
And then I would say a business owner is like, I need this cost per lead, right? No, you're super optimized, but it's just like I did a call earlier with one of our clients. You have two choices. You can either spend more or you can optimize your system, right? You can either optimize your percentages within lead to booking, booking to show, and show to close. Once you get those optimized, you only have one choice, and that is spend more. If you want to go faster, is spend more money.
Spend more money.
I am not a magician and cannot make like $25 cost per lead for what he's doing is great. I'm not a magician to say, oh, I can get you down to 15. The quality is going to slip at 15 if
That's
I'm
right.
being specific. So the only thing, and people don't like this, but it's the truth. Like, if you want to go faster, you got to spend more, because I'm already getting you the clients. You're saying to me the leads, the signups are great. Okay. We know we have baked in the percentages. If we know 40 to 50% are going to book, that means 50% said no. So stop worrying about the 50% that said no. They're not saying no right now. They're just saying maybe. And just think about you when you opt into something. You don't buy month one most of the times, right? So why would you think every single person is going to? And so then show rate, like I've opted into stuff or even booked stuff and then canceled it, right? Because I just didn't want to do it, or something came up. And so then you optimize that funnel. But then you have to realize, going back, did we go over LTV and CAC? Yeah, we went over all that. Then you go back to the LTV CAC and say, how many do I want to grow by? If your CAC is, if Tommy says $500, and I say, okay, Tommy, your CAC's 500, that's what we're getting. I need you to spend, if you need 4, I need you to spend 2K.
Okay, done. Because I know the money's going to show up. I can scale that as long as I have the money to do it. That's fine. It's like,
and maybe we simplify this too much, but when you get your systems and your processes dialed in, all business becomes is a math problem.
Yeah,
and if you have the data, then you can know where to move the needle.
And so, guys, like, again, like how we started this conversation, we're already talking tip of the spear problems for a brick and mortar gym business. And I know, like, maybe Blake and I make it sound way too easy, but just understand that, like, okay, here's how I would triage helping you grow your business. Forget the fact that we're talking paid ads and I work from Lasso. It's like, okay, look, where are you trying to take your business? What marketing channels are already in place? Are there areas for improvement that don't require a lot of time and money? Making your website better, making sure you got keywords in on your Google My Business, make sure you got referral sources, like all of that is true. And you say, I need to go further. Okay, let's start spending $1,000 and I need you to get really good at converting cold traffic. Within that constraint, we can run lead campaigns and we're going to be testing opt-ins or direct to website. And as long as your website's pretty damn good, we're going to figure out which customer is working best for you. And then we're going to optimize around that. Cool. As we dial that in and I get your LTV to CAC to somewhere between 30 and 40, and you have the cash flow to spend more money, get above 3,000 and Blake can start doing more sophisticated stuff for you. But until then, get the basics down. Like, that's the whole point of this. Because the more you try to tinker with or mess with or whatever out of such a small ad budget, you're basically telling Facebook to continue to learn and learn and learn and learn, and we're never going to get anywhere. That's the whole point of this. So, like, going back to Blake's point, most of the time why paid advertising doesn't work for people, it has to do with we're either not spending enough money, we think we have to optimize things that we don't need to optimize, or there's other broken parts of your marketing funnel further downstream that aren't converting or aren't like nurturing or converting into actual business. Like those are the issues around paid ads. Because if someone's like, well, I'm just going to stop running paid ads, I'm like, I can't think of a more reliable way to grow your business. After that, if you turn that off and we have an awareness problem, okay, go pound the pavement, more tabling, go buy that, like, did you get hit by a car billboard? Go do more mailers. But those cost per impressions are a lot more expensive than Meta, and it's the exact same strategy. You're interrupting somebody's life to tell you what you do. That's all that we do at the awareness stage, is interrupt people's lives. So you can interrupt them face to face. You could do it on a 24/7 digital billboard. You could do it on a physical billboard, or you could put mail in their mailbox, and we all know what we do with that mail. You know what I mean? So, like, those are your options. Yeah. If awareness is the actual problem in your business.
And I want to end this with 2 things. One, where Facebook is going. Now, next week, I'm getting on a 3-hour presentation on instant forms and integrating it into your CRM so it can send back data to figure out who's signed up and get it in front of more people. So people are always saying lead ads and things like that aren't good. Facebook is always improving this, right? So that's number one. Where I also think that Facebook is going is with the website, instant forms, and advertising in whole is going by the end of 2026. we're going to start seeing ads on, well, we already are. They announced it on ChatGPT on the free version, right? Sooner or later, you're going to be able to advertise on chat. And people ask me, like, that sounds hard. My ChatGPT knows way more about me than 99% of people. And so it is going to be super high targeted. And so I think that's the next thing to go. So I think one thing for people, if you're listening to this episode either pushed people so far off and was like, I have no interest in running Facebook ads. That's great because you know the truth. Or you're the second person that's like, you know what? That makes sense. I understand it. I understand that, like, I put in $1, I'm going to get 3, but the 3 isn't going to come month 1. It's going to come over the course of the time. That makes sense to me from a business standpoint and a mindset standpoint. Just like when I gave that mentor company $14,000 to pay for a year up front, but my revenue didn't increase $14,000 month 1. There's no difference. If you understand that, you can run paid ads. The reason people stop, you could just like, yes, if you ran paid ads on your own, there's a lot of reasons it doesn't work. If you run paid ads with us, the main reason it does not work is your expectations were wrong, or maybe together, and I'll take blame, our expectations that we provided were wrong, right? We didn't have the right conversation to say, go back to if I can get you a client for $2,000, how much would you spend to acquire that client? How many times would you do that to go faster? And I remember my mentor, when I ran paid ads for myself, when I had my gyms, he goes, if you're crushing it, if you're getting a client for this, why aren't you spending more? And it was a simple question. And it's always come back and ring in my head is that, like, okay, if it's costing you $300, but that client's staying for even 3 months and you're getting $900, why would you not do that 10 times?
Yeah. Yeah. And Blake, just to put a realistic filter on that, you guys, like, for me, it's been a very much a learning experience of like, hey, I spent $750 with Blake and Lasso for the tune of like 2 years. Fix the sales systems, hire the appointment setter, get it all dialed in. Then I can ramp up to 3,000 to 6,000. And then once I did that, I figured, shit, there's more stuff I need to solve. But that's just the game you play. Is like, guys, we level up because I'm trying to get the business to a different level. Oh no, my setters need to be better. My closers need to be better. Like we need to be doing better lead nurture. Like that, all of that I had to fix. So it's this constant iterative process of like, once you get it dialed in, into Blake's point, why not spend more money? Well, let's make sure we spend money, but we're also not lighting money on fire because we will break systems as we go. Fix the systems. Once you have that dialed in reliably, okay, now we can spend more money. And that's the path that we go on when we grow our gyms. So, Blake, we're over an hour, dude. Let's wrap it up. I will, like, this is super important because, like, this is a common theme. There's a lot of messaging out there right now in the ecosystem about like, hey, you should just run your own ads, or hey, you should just do this type of strategy where it's like a sales campaign that goes to a booking page. And like, there's so much nuance to this, and it's so easy for someone to get on, give a 30-second like blip about here's what I think you should do. And if you don't understand the nuance to it, you're just like, well, why shouldn't I do that? That was the whole point of this conversation. It's the shiny object. So like, hopefully that gave you guys like a roadmap of thinking about not just like marketing strategy in general, but like the different levels to it. And once you get it dialed in, you kind of know, okay, cool. The next step is to spend more money. And once I spend more money, Blake can do these kind of cool things to better get into that marketing psychology we talked about. Because it rings true, but if he is budget constrained, we have to go with like what's going to get you the most at bats and the most reliable way to grow your business. That's it. Yeah.
And Tommy, I was just thinking we should make every single person that signs up with Lasso watch this video before they actually.
This is going to be a 5-part course. This is like, yeah.
But it's the truth. But like, here's the thing, and guys, and like I said just a couple minutes ago, if this all makes sense, like reach out. But if it doesn't make sense, respectfully, don't waste your time and your money and your time and our time when the expectations, it's just like a client. And I say that in like the kindest way, is like, it's a client coming in and say, I want to lose 30 pounds in 3 months. Like, you're just like, no, we have the wrong expectations. We can't do that. It's not realistic. It's not realistic to say, I'm going to give you $2,000 and I expect $10,000 month 1. It's the same thing, just different ways of doing it. So guys, I hope you guys enjoyed this. If it made sense to you, if it made you mad, share it with somebody. If it made sense to you, share it to somebody. But you will find out this is the truth. because honestly, it's the truth, because we probably just took out 90% of people that ever thought about running ads and only have 10%. But that's, again, we're going down to our niche, right? And I would say I could take this video and this podcast and run the video as an ad and say people that watch over 50% of this are high quality leads. That is how you niche down. That's how you niche down in a market, to say, who are you for? So practicality, I hope this was helpful for you guys. And I know we gave a lot here. So if you guys listen to it, save it, share it. Appreciate you guys. Talk soon.
All right, guys. Cheers.
Yeah. Thank you for listening to the Gym Marketing Made Simple podcast with Blake Ruff and Sherman Merricks. We hope you enjoyed. We believe marketing should increase revenue and not waste money. So book your free call today. Head on over to lassoframework.com. That's LASSOFRAMEWORK.com and find the right words, get more customers, and increase your revenue. We'll see you here next time.